Welcome to 0 to 60.
I'm Matt McChesney. I am the owner and operator of 6-0 Football Academy and 6-0 Equipment. Played at the University of Colorado from 2004. 6 years in the National Football League on both sides of football.
I'm Matt McChesney. This is 0 to 60. That is Coach Prime. We are at the University of Colorado. Brother, thank you so much.
All right. 0 to 60. We're rolling. Welcome to 0 to 60. I'm your host, Matt McChesney. Happy Monday. We've had a week off because of Christmas, and it was much needed, to say the least. Bailey's on the ones and the twos. We have a lot to talk about here today. Let's pay some of these goddamn bills and then get this over with.
Let's pay some bills. We got a lot to talk about today. It's good to be back here on this fine Monday. The show is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with constant real-time odds and action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. The largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA and college basketball, NHL to UFC and boxing. Head to the website today to see why BetOnline is America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. Matt, we're here on this Monday after a wild weekend of NFL and college football, and obviously Colorado takes a loss in the Alamo Bowl. How are we feeling on this Monday, Matt?
Good, man. I mean, Saturday sucked, but mainly from a selfish perspective. I had the Broncos and the bus parlayed at 10 wins each.
Yeah, I remember
I put a big chunk of change on it in August, and I was just praying to God, the skinny punks, that they would win, and they didn't. And the Broncos can't seem to find a fucking W either, so
I'd be pissed.
That's a bummer. But other than that, you know, I look at the weekend. The Alamo Bowl has not been kind to Colorado in the past, and it was not kind to a Saturday. 9-4 with the Heisman winner. And now, even though, you know, like, you've got every moron in the fucking world coming out and saying that Shedeur won't play for the Titans. Like, now you got to have Travis Hunter going to the Patriots at 1, which I think is a home run sealed deal. Like, if they win on Sunday, they're fucking dumb as a box of rocks. Do everything to lose that game. So you give Drake May a weapon, and I think that they can build, you know, what Travis Hunter said about, I wouldn't even think about wearing number 12. That's Tom Brady's number. It shows you where that kid's head at. Mm-hmm. And then Shedeur going to Tennessee, I think it's a great fit in a terrible division with bad quarterback play everywhere. And he gets to play for, you know this better than anybody being on the show with me.
Yeah.
Fucking Brian Callahan's their head coach, and Bill Callahan's in the room, and they are building something there to run the football and really be aggressive and play good defense. And I think that could be a great fit
I agree.
for Shedeur moving forward, to teach him how to play under center and get out of the college mindset and let him really maximize who he is. So, look, we have a ton to talk about, obviously, but the BYU football team, I tip my cap to them. I talked a lot of shit last week. I was doing it, you know, trying to have some fun with it, but also, I wanted them to win, obviously, and it was a disaster. It was an absolute ass kicking, a throttling from start to finish. I respect so much that Travis and Shedeur and everybody played the whole game. They didn't pull a Cam Ward and quit at halftime. Yeah. Like, you might as well just not fucking play if you're going to quit and then lose by a point. Mm-hmm. I thought Shedeur played very average, you know, but at the same time, the offensive line got fucking murdered. I mean, murdered, just crushed. So I think a lot of that is fixable, but again, we will revert back to today when we talk about this, and we're talking about it now. The lack of creativity in the run game, the lack of moving the pocket, the lack of having a tight end that can actually block someone at the point of contact, the very predictable, by the time, like, they ran that fucking 3-by-1 empty look or 3-by-1 11 personnel look where they motioned Smalls back in, and then right when we got to the center guard area, they snapped the ball and he kicked out the defensive end. By the second time they ran that, I knew what they were doing. So BYU had to know. The super soaker Betty, number 92. That son of a bitch needs to get drafted high.
I saw your tweet.
Oh my God. He was killing everybody. He was crushing everybody. So, look, I think that the future is extremely bright. I love how every time Colorado loses, it's because they didn't play anybody and the season's this and they're not really as good as they are. And Shedor's not any good and Travis isn't good and Coach Prime isn't building community. And, you know, you got every expert in the fucking world out here talking shit. At the drop of a hat when they drop a game, the haters come out. And that's fine. That's what this business is. But I try and be as like impartial as possible here. When they do things well, I praise them for it. And when they do things shitty, I try and provide an opportunity to teach people what they could do better in order to fix it, not necessarily just go after them for being shitty. They know they sucked. Everyone knows they suck. Like pointing out when someone sucks to the people that just sucked just makes you look like an idiot. Like, how about a solution? So I try and be as open and there to give a solution as humanly possible. I've done it since the 4-8 season when, you know, the UCLA film that I posted and all the other things. And you know who respects the constructive criticism more than anybody is Coach Prime and the people up there. So I'm very excited about the future. I think that the recruits they brought in are next level. I love the bridge quarterback they brought in. That picture right there gives me, you know, some warm feelings, bro. Like that's some dope shit. So if Jimmy, which I think he is, humble enough to be to be a number 2 for a little bit and learn from the Salter kid from Liberty. That's why they put him in. If you can't see that, you don't know how to read the writing on the wall. Bringing in the big offensive lineman from A&M in the transfer portal. I watched that kid play pretty much all year because I was watching play Zoom play all year, right? And he's a really good, long, big athlete that, bro, I don't know how they bagged that kid, but they got him, and he's a hell of a player.
Huge get.
I think that there's a ton of optimism. There's a ton of things to be really, really, really positive about. Winning another Heisman is, you know, a week out now. Dog, it's you can't really put a fucking price on that. You know what I'm saying? It is so big for the program. It's so big for Coach Prime and validates the greatness of Travis Hunter. You know, I just thought it was awesome. So 9-4, opportunity to play for the Big 12 that was squandered. You lose your bowl game, but you know, you win a Heisman, and the program is obviously on the up. And that's why there's so many haters and so many people talking shit, because they know we're on the up. And the only thing they can do now is they have to take their opportunity, because they only got 4 of them this year. They only have 4 opportunities to now talk shit. And we'll see you ending the season on a foul note and losing. Now they got an entire offseason to talk about it's a fraud and it's not this and it's not that. Dude, I just don't understand how people can see that. I don't get it. Like, losing 2 assistant coaches doesn't mean Coach Prime's leaving.
No.
That means that you were pretty good and other teams want your coaches because they're good.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. So if no one wants your players in the transfer portal era, you suck. And if no one wants your coaches in the coaching carousel era, you suck. So, you know, it'd be like the fucking offensive coordinator for the Lions. What's his name? Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson. It'd be like him not getting jobs next year or being interviewed. No, he's going to get his door broken down because he's a fucking stud of a coach. So, yeah, we got a lot to talk about. I'll let you steer the ship here, but yeah, let's roll, bro. I got to get out. Fuck out of here.
All right, let's get into it, Matt. Let's start with the actual game, the actual Alamo Bowl. My opinion, I mean, I don't know what festivities or whatever went on like during the bowl, week. But I mean, Colorado just got outplayed. Obviously, Travis Hunter did his thing. I think Shedeur struggled a little bit, especially with the offensive line struggling so bad as well. But Matt, I just want to get your biggest takeaways from this game, starting with that, and then can you also address some of the experts that have come out, so quote unquote experts come out on social media, not to take shots, but I mean, I don't know. When you got Bucky responding to you, telling you, bro, what do you be talking about when it's saying it's, talking about this is not Pat Shurmur's offense. This is just what we're talking about, some of the so-called experts. Matt, what do you have to say about some of this and then the game itself? Go ahead.
I don't know this guy that's on Twitter that he's fighting with or disagreeing with. I shouldn't say fight. Look, he obviously thinks that, from what I can gather here, that Shedeur is running his offense. Well, Pat is the OC, and he's the one that installs everything. And I'm just going to be blunt here when I say this. If you don't think that every good offensive coordinator, and Pat was pretty good this year, okay? They're 9-4. He has a Heisman Trophy winner at wide receiver. He fed his other receivers like crazy. Yeah, they didn't run the ball, but I don't think they tried to either. This is something we will talk about later in the show.
Yeah.
If you don't sit down with Shedeur and say, what do you like, rather than this is the box you're going to be in, you're a terrible fucking coach. Like, you're terrible. You're awful. So I would be doing everything humanly possible to maximize the athletes in the room. I really wish they would have supported Shedeur a little bit more with the run game. But
yeah,
as we went through the season and they had such a huge advantage throwing the ball on people, it's not that they didn't try and run the ball. They did at times. I think if they were more committed to it, it would have helped. But when you have a great player, a generational talent at the position, which is what he is. He's going 1 or 2 in the draft. And if it stays where it's at, if Tennessee doesn't pick him, they deserve to suck.
Facts.
And you don't say when McDaniels isn't dictating to Tom Brady, he's asking him what he likes.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Like Peyton Manning, Adam Gase in Denver wasn't dictating to Peyton Manning. He was asking him what he liked.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the OC at the U doesn't dictate to Cam Ward. They ask Cam Ward what he likes, and then they go out and execute. That's what good quarterbacks, good offensive coordinators, play callers do. It's even happening now with Peyton and Bo Nix in Denver. And I know that people are pissed off because they've had 2 losses in a row, but Bo Nix is smart enough and good enough to take the constructive criticism as coaching and talk back and forth and move forward. So again, I would just, I reached out to this cat and just asked, like, are you watching all 22 or just TV copy? I don't know that. I haven't gotten a response back. I literally just did that. So I thought I'd ask that question because the all 22 shows you things that the TV copy doesn't. I would say that, yeah, it is Shedeur's offense. And Pat probably worked around Shedeur Sanders' greatness and everything he brought to the table with all those receivers. And I don't want Pat's offense. Pat's offense in the NFL was dog shit. I think he was never ranked higher than mid. Mm-hmm. And when he was a head coach, they were awful everywhere he went. And the offensive coordinating he did was usually because he had a great quarterback that he probably just worked with and said, what do you like? Yeah, it's, you know what I'm like, when I'm in here, and I used to train Ryan Jensen forever from his rookie year till he got done playing.
Right.
I would coach Ryan when he was young. But when Ryan was like 6-7 years in, I'd be asking him questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, what are you doing on this ace block? How do you hook this dude? How do you do this? How do you do that? And then it's back and forth with a good coach and a good player and your peers, and there's give and take. You know what I'm saying? Like when I have a guy like Quinn Bailey, who's hurt this year for the Broncos, but he's a practice squad guy on and off. Yeah, I'm coaching the shit out of him, but I'm also – there's a lot of like asking him questions about how does Coach Strafe teach the tackles to vertical set in this situation, or what do you do against the screen here? I'm not saying that anybody that's talking out here and giving perspective is wrong.
Yeah,
I'm also not saying they're right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that it's a fluid situation in a bowl game, and. Right. I thought that we talked about this. I thought that they would go out and try and fucking throw it all over the goddamn yard, and they did. They tried to do it, and it didn't work. And BYU looked at this and said, we're going to do the same thing Kansas and Kansas State did, which is just line up and bludgeon them.
Facts.
And it worked. The defensive line didn't show up, and they got beat up. We really missed 41 in the middle. and our offensive line. Tyler Brown is not a tackle. I love Tyler Brown. I hope I get to work with him this offseason down here at the fucking lab. We've talked a bunch, but he's not a tackle, and putting him at tackle is a disservice to Tyler Brown. So I'm not going to get mad at Tyler Brown for that. That's terrible fucking game planning, putting him at right tackle in this football game, especially going against the first team all-conference and all-American in Beatty, 92, who was eating Seaton and Brown alive.
Yeah, he was unbelievable player.
So, look, Jordan Seaton has a huge offseason in front of him. Get bigger, stronger, really develop into a man's body, and go show everybody that you're first pick eligible, that you're that kind of player. That's the freshman year and all the, oh, look how good the freshman, that shit's over. That you ain't a freshman no more, homie. All that fucking all the nostalgia is out the door. Who gives a shit? Is Cash Cleveland really going to be your answer at center? Because he was getting dolly-walked in the game, thrown around. They brought in this other kid to compete. They still have Zelinkus. We'll see what happens there. Are they going to find a point of attack guard? Are they going to find somebody like an Andre Gerard or a Chris Nioli or somebody, any fucking buddy, that can go in there and set the tone at the point of attack and then and really get in there with Seaton and double team people out of the way and get nasty at the point of attack there? Are they going to change up their run scheme? Because now you don't have Shedeur anymore. Right. I don't care what Juju and Salter are not Shedeur. Juju's 17. He's got to develop. If he walks in and plays with his fucking dick hanging on the ground as a freshman, then all power to it. I'm for it. I'll eat crow. But I would love to see them running the shit out of the football in the future. And now they're going to have a quarterback in Salter that I'm sure will be the bridge guy and start. Unless he sucks, he'll probably be there all year. And Juju will get in and back up roles and learn how to do this. In my opinion, that's what I think will happen. Of course, I'm sure they'll pissed off some of these fucking people in the chat. But everybody's off their fucking rocker today anyway, so we got a lot to talk about. But I'm looking at it now you've got a quarterback that can really run rather than Shedeur who can evade.
Right. You know Salter can really run. Yeah, he can really run it.
Yeah. So now you got to be able to institute a system where, like Georgia Tech's system, where they run 11 on 11 and the quarterback is a runner. Yeah, that's what needs to be installed now in Boulder. The offense that you saw last year is not going to be the offense you saw this year. Yeah. It's like I'm the O-line, D-line coach at Mount Vista. We just lost Austin Majeski, who was the 5A player of the year 2 times in a row. Well, we've got a really, really fucking good player coming up right behind him, okay? But he's a different kind of quarterback. He's big and athletic and fast, and he can run people over and shit. Marquise is a fucking stud, but we're not going to run the same exact offense with him that we ran with Austin.
Right.
No, we're going to change it up and get 11 on 11 and start assaulting people vertically. That's what CU needs to do here with this new guy. And then it needs to be a combination of Salter's offense and Shedeur's offense when Juju's in there and smash this bitch together and really go start putting people in very, very bad positions and very advantageous positions for CU, knowing that we can take advantage of certain looks with our personnel. So I think that there's a lot of things to be positive about, but you've got to go out and change the way you do things in the meeting room. Like whoever they hire as the O-line coach, he needs to be the run game coordinator, and it has to be somebody that's going to be in the room that's not going to be disrespectful and shit, but it's going to work hand in hand, but it's going to stand up and say this is not going to work. Like, look, I love Coach Lodeholt, but him leaving after a year 100% unequivocally tells me that he was a yes man. He was in the room, not trying to piss anybody off. He only had a year there. You know, maybe he can go somewhere else, but he doesn't want to ruffle any feathers. So he's going to go with what they tell us, and he's going to focus on his group. And he did a great job, bro. Coach Lodeholt did an awesome job. They got a lot better. They recruited well. You know, they brought people in. I thought that there was some times where they looked really good and some times where they looked really awful. I would say that if you aren't looking for just another job, if you're not looking for, you know, if you're a coach that's not just looking to advance, you're going to be a little different in the meeting room if you know you have security, or you know you're right, and you're not just trying to fucking go get the job at UCLA next year. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, that puts you in a position where you're like, no, I don't think that we're going to be able to do it like that, and we should do it like this, and then fight and die on that hill. Like, there's so many opportunities in meetings with coaches where they're back and forth with each other, and the other coach is just going to see if you actually stand on what you say. Are you speaking on business, or Or is this just you? Are you just simply saying, yes, coach, we'll get that done this week? Instead of going in each week with 15 different formation and motion packages to assault people with. And why aren't we running Wildcat with all these different receivers and crazy fucking athletes? And why isn't Miller, the freshman, our Wildcat quarterback? Why wasn't Travis Hunter? He only carried the ball once, scored a touchdown. Why wasn't he doing that this year? Like, there's so many different things that you can throw at people, and you've got to have the experience to do it. Right. So, I don't know. My question would be, do you want guys that are just happy to have the job and will say yes to anything, or do you want somebody that actually can take the job and make it what it's supposed to be? Like, I don't want somebody that I agree with all the time. I want somebody that's going to challenge me. I want somebody that's going to fucking go out and be like, look, I'm going to be here for years. You can build this like JB doesn't think you can develop people anymore. I totally disagree with that. I totally disagree, because I'm in here working with them. Breck and Deacon and Reese and all these freaks are in here this morning getting it on. The first fucking thing Breck says to me is like, hey, so you got rid of load hole left. What are you going to do? And I'm like, I'm not in charge of this shit. What am I going to do? I'm going to be at work tomorrow at 8 a.m. Are you coming in? So like, I'm telling you, dog, it is the opportunity there is, I think, is a huge one with good personnel and a great head coach that's open-minded. Yeah. And I think that if they do it correctly, Mike Munchak is in Denver.
Yeah, that's a good candidate.
An offensive lineman, a great offensive line coach. But again, is he really going in there to like put his foot on it, or is he just there as a job?
To get another job.
Exactly. So like I think that CU has got a real opportunity in front of them to think outside of the box. So do it like that. Think outside of the box and find somebody that can actually go in there and develop, recruit, help in the transfer portal, and then go out there and get on these guys' ass and not have any more of these fucking games where we look like we're inept and soft. Right. Pick one. Like if you're going to be inept, be tough. If you're going to be soft, be smart.
Yeah.
You can't be soft and inept at the same time. That's just stupid and soft, and those are bad essence to line up next to each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those audio listeners, Phil Loholt, Colorado's offensive line coach, was hired by Mississippi State, along Colorado's defensive end coach, Coach Dancy. Dancy in his clean fade heads to Oxford, Mississippi State. But Matt, I wanted to ask you about Loholt. You mentioned a couple candidates. Candidate that shout out to Dukes of Scoop, Philip Dukes, who's been on the show many times. Candidate he threw out was Brian Braswell, ex-Maryland offensive line coach, would be a good candidate.
He's the guy. He recruited the shit out of Jordan Seaton too.
Yeah, absolutely. And another candidate I wanted to ask, this is maybe a dark horse candidate, but McChesney. The entire chat seems to think that Matt are a great replacement for Phil Loholt. I just wanted to get your comments on that briefly before we move on here and continue the discussion of Phil Loholt leaving Colorado. Go ahead.
Well, I'm not going to comment on any of that right now because just take that for what you will. Okay. I'm not going to comment on that shit. I'm going to talk around it like I'm doing right now and talk about what I think they need to do, but I'm not going to comment on it because there's a lot of shit going on behind the scenes.
Take that as you will.
I will say that the opportunity now this is now the fourth year in a row this has happened.
Right.
So they cannot keep an offensive line coach in-house to build around. Mm-hmm. And that is not good. Right. So regardless of who they hire, you got to have somebody that wants the job and not just wants the job to go somewhere else. That's the way you build consistency and greatness in Boulder. And look, I believe Coach Prime when he says he's going to stay there and build a monster. So I would assume he would love to have some stability at the position, which is so important. Like everybody forgets how important the offensive line room is until you don't have a good offensive line. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a grunt position and where we do the dirty work and we don't need a lot of recognition. But people forget I didn't play O-line at CU. I played defensive line at CU. I played defensive line in the NFL for 2 years before Bill Callahan, of all people, said, do you want a job or do you want to play defense? And I said, a job. And he said, you're a guard. Now you know the snap count. So I learned offensive line play from the best offensive line coach in the history of fucking football, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And the most schematically, the smartest man from a scheme standpoint I've ever been around, who he would show me stuff and I'd be like, holy shit, I didn't even think about it like that. I was just playing one gap defense.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally think that's the step that needs to be taken in Boulder. You got to find somebody that you actually want to build around that can help you build. Like the transfer portal, if there's connections in the transfer portal and there's all these guys that have been placed in the transfer portal throughout the history of the transfer portal, and you have somebody that can access that and pull them back into Colorado, that's a weapon. When you have a guy who's working with all these different players around the country who are all nationally ranked, who are already offered by CU, and now they watched the coach that offered them leave. Well, if you have the opportunity to have relationships built in already, that's a weapon, dog.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, I read something today on Twitter, like, I don't know if Matt could do the job. He's got issues. All right. Look, you're right. I do. I have issues. I have issues with the super soft fucking community that we live in and the world we live in. Mm-hmm. I have issues with the Charmin soft philosophies that are out here in the world these days, especially when it pertains to football. I have issues with Hobbytown. I don't like people that take this as a hobby instead of something that, you know, can change your life. I want people that want football on a daily basis and can't breathe without it, not people who like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like it today. It's nice, but I don't like it tomorrow. I don't want that. It's not what I'm looking for. So I do have issues with people that don't have an issue with this being mediocre. So if you don't want to push for greatness and you don't want to be the best and you don't want to fucking, you know, strive to be your best on a daily basis, don't walk in the doors at 6-0. Don't listen to 0 to 60. Don't go to 6-0 equipment and get fucking a body bag and all the equipment we sell there.
Yep.
Don't get involved with what we do because we're trying to do it up here. We're not going to drop our bar for anybody. And that's the same kind of mindset that Beatonbaugh has at Oklahoma, that Coach Justice has at SMU, that, you know, like it's just all over the country. Everybody, Coach Hansen at SC, like you've got all these different connections and all these coaches all over the country. You know, Coach Kapovic reached out to me yesterday. He used to be the O-line coach at CU back in the day with Earl Tucker. He's in Alabama now. They just offered Breck and Deacon, right? Looking at Reese, likes Moon, wants to get Nick down to camp. Reached out to me yesterday like, hey, be a good fit. That was all he said. We just had a fucking 10-minute conversation. Like that's when I hear shit like that, I go, okay, well, it's not really on me. All I can do is wait. It's not like they don't know where I'm at. So look, if everybody wants this, we'll see what happens. But I've already got a job. I'm really good at it. We're very successful. I love the fact that I can help my university from this seat. Okay. But at the same time, this has now happened multiple years in a row. And I keep having this conversation, it seems, every January.
Yeah.
So where there's smoke, there's fire. And I don't know why people want nice, tame trench monsters. That's not what we're like, dog. That's not even close to what we want.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to be a nice gentleman off the field, okay? But I want you to be an absolute fucking menace when you put a helmet on. And then be able to actually, like, be actually taught what you're supposed to do and what you're not. Like, did you see the blitz that BYU threw at us Saturday where the center and the left guard, they brought the safety of the linebacker, and the left guard and the center couldn't figure out who they were supposed to block, so they didn't block anybody in the they just let them both go. Well, before that, Cash is like pointing over. But what is he pointing at? Does he really understand the basics of the protection? Does everybody really know what they're doing? Does Tyler Brown really know what he's doing at right tackle when he's played guard all year?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it being articulated in the meeting room how to pass protect, what Mike linebacker means? Again, let's ask the chat, what's Mike mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's Mike linebacker mean, everybody? So I think that the opportunity and look playing both ways is what they do in Boulder. They love versatile people.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
Absolutely.
I would think that they need to scour the earth for the right person for this job. And it doesn't necessarily mean that person needs to agree with everybody or get along with everyone. That's not what we're trying to do here. This isn't called friend ball. This is called football. So I personally think that it does mean most dangerous defender. It does not mean middle linebacker. There's 11 people on the field. How we get in the middle of 11? Slicing them in half the same. It means the most dangerous second level defender. So we're in a 3-by-1 look, and we're closed bunch over here and tight end ISO over here, and they're stacking this side, and there's 4 defenders for 3 receivers over here. We have to determine if the stack force player is the Sam or is the Mike. If is it the Sam linebacker that's forcing everything, or is it one of the defenders on the right side that's 4 for 3? So then we have to decipher that. The uncovered offensive lineman has to play through the guy next to him, his hip out, which puts everybody else isolated one-on-one, which is what they fucked up the other night. You had 2 guys that should have just been rock one-on-one and a squeeze gap. They bring the linebacker into the gap. The guard doesn't understand that he needs to tap his hip and squeeze, and the tackle needs to squeeze. The back needs to take the defensive end. Everything is full turned, and you just slice them up because there's a huge pocket there to throw the ball into.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They can run play action, and they don't even run the ball. So that shows you how scared people are of Shedeur. So, look, I think that watching it and watching all year and being enamored with greatness and unbelievable athletic potential from the players, that's been awesome. But I will say that next year they don't have Shedeur Sanders or Travis Hunter on the field anymore, and you better figure out a way to get some balance. You better figure out a way to run the football. You better support your running quarterback that you just brought in. Salter is a run-first guy.
He's an
He
athlete.
went for 1,700 yards passing and 800 yards rushing, right?
Liberty. He's a hell of an athlete.
You can't just say, oh, we don't have a run game coordinator. We don't have a guy who's in charge of getting 5 yards in a cloud of dust. And I personally think that needs to be the number one priority, and we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Well, there you have it. Phil Loholt leaves Colorado, and we'll see how Colorado fills that vacancy. But Matt broke it down, the ideal candidate and what to look for. And chat, there you have it. Before we move to take a commercial break, we got a lot to discuss here. We're going to go through some super chats here and stuff. Matt, East Coast Kev, shout out to the $5. He says, I'm a Jets fan. For the love of God, please don't let me go to New England. Well,
I'm a Jet alum, bro, and I love you, and we're both in this pit of hell together. Yesterday was one of the worst experiences I've ever had as a fan in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I knew they were going to lose. I didn't think that I would actually watch them walking out with Gangster in Paradise on their shoulder, and Aaron Rodgers walk out there and just be like, oh, well, I'm not much of a gangster, but this sure is paradise. Like, fucking Aaron Rodgers is washed. He is as bad as it gets right now. The team is totally quit. I don't want anybody that I like going to the Jets, bro. Stay the fuck away from the Jets. Okay? I love the Jets. They gave me my chance. It's an incredible organization. Sometimes I think that Woody Johnson, our owner, is terrible, awful, like one of the worst owners in fucking sports. They can have their facilities shiny, their stadium's nice, their uniforms are like they spend money, but they just can't figure it out, bro. And I don't want Travis Hunter going to the fucking Jets. Please, God, no. I mean, going to the Patriots is worse too, but it's still like at least that franchise knows what to do with superstars. They don't just consistently fuck up every superstar that walks in the room.
Yeah.
So I do not want Travis going to the Jets. I don't necessarily want him to go to the Patriots, but if you're the Patriots and you don't take him, you're just asking for, like, who else are you going to take? Exactly. You don't need a quarterback. You're going to take a tackle? Like, no, you're taking Travis Hunter. End of story.
End of story. And, we're going to discuss that later on. We got a lot to discuss about the draft and after the Giants and the Raiders won yesterday. But let's go down, keep going here. Shout out to the $5, Robert
Nice.
Mitchell.
Cool.
And We didn't take any shots. I'm not taking any shots about buffed in Prime. I mean, I'm not taking any shots. I'm sure he knows his stuff. The real message was those outside the program, no.
I was just asking if he watches all 22, and I'm pretty sure that kid played in the league. Or
we're not taking shots.
It's like college football. He's got an
Just saying that relax. This is more of a general statement. I literally said no shots intended. I just brought this up.
Are people angry about it?
Yeah, everyone loses their mind about everything. And again, relax. Shout out to Trav for the $10. Says congrats to our team, Coach Prime and staff on a great year. What Prime has done in 2 years is spectacular. We didn't get the result we wanted Saturday, but everyone should be proud. Go Buffs.
And if you can't find a way to shelf your discontentment for what happened Saturday and be proud of the program and where they've come and winning a Heisman, and I mean, you obviously just got here for Coach Prime because you don't understand the history of the program. But it's been really bad for a long time. And now we're going on 21 years. 21 fucking years since we won a bowl game. I was a senior on the last team that won a bowl game there. So I'm very, very proud to be a Colorado Buffalo, and I think that it is going to be absolutely, on fire moving forward. I just don't see a way that the foundation they've built, even Shedeur said this, the foundation that was built now, guys can go in and be proud of being at the university and go up there and fucking take off. So I think I related this to, I think it was on our show when we did this before we took the week off, but everybody remembers the SC dynasty, right? Well, in 2002 in Boulder, we played SC before they started winning everything, right? So in 2002, they had Carson Palmer and Polamalu, and I think they lost 1 or 2 games, and they played in the Orange Bowl and beat Iowa. But then all of a sudden, they were just winning fucking Heisman's left and right after that and back-to-back national titles. And, they lost great players, but then they just reloaded, and the foundation was built. And SC had been down for a long time, and then all of a sudden – so I really think that you could have that same kind of turnover, especially in the Big 12, bro. The Big 12 is just not a great conference, and I think that the opportunity to go in there and be a dominant program in it is right in front of us. So,
yeah, and one thing, I mean, you mentioned I don't think the Big 12 is great this year. I think next year is going to be improved. We're seeing a lot of just movement. Utah got a new quarterback. Rich Rod's back at West Virginia. Just a lot of different moving pieces coming in the Big 12 here. So I'm really excited to see next year. Colorado's got to solve the bowl game problems. Unfortunate loss to BYU, but nonetheless, a great season. Like you mentioned, now Colorado players coming into Colorado can be proud of where they're going, the jersey they wear. Man, we're going to pay some bills here before we, head into the second half of the show here. Shout out to 6-0 Academy. Got to pay the bills here. But in the second half of the show, we're going to discuss, the Giants and the Raiders losing and what that means for Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter's draft status. And Travis may be going to New England. Shedeur may be coming out to Nashville, play for the Titans. That would be interesting. We're to give our picks for Monday Night Football, kind of a reaction from the NFL. Over Christmas break, we were off for a week, so we got a lot to discuss from that aspect. Got a little recruiting to discuss and so much more. We appreciate you. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and become a member of the Dungeon family here at 0 to 60. We appreciate you. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Peace.
Whether it's offensive linemen as they work combos and double teams and also pass, pro, and punch, I think the unique physicality of this is outstanding. So much so that you can use it for your shield on punt team or as you rush in the shield. There's so many different ways that we're using it. We get better a little bit every single day, and I just wanted to say thank you because I hadn't ever thought of this, and when I saw it, it made total sense, and we're doing a great job with it. So thank you, man. Go Big Red. What this has done for us is it's allowed us to, because of the surface area, because of its firm nature, I can still strike against another player and have to use that punch just like you do on a sled. At the same time, have to time my punch because it could move. I can teach defensive linemen how to handle double teams because they can feel pressure. We can simulate contact in a safe environment in non-contact times because of this unique bag.
Welcome down here to the Lab 6-0 Football Academy, 6-0 Strength and Fitness. I am
your owner and operator, Matt McChesney. I just wanted to let everybody know that 6-0 is now on Cameo. You can go on Cameo and request any tips for training, any offensive line, defensive line tips, recruiting tips. I get so many inquiries in my inbox on a daily basis about tips and can you look at my film and can you do this? Can you break down something for me? I'd love to, all right? It's like the Joker said, my man, right here. If you're good at something, never do it for free. So Cameo is now your bridge to 6-0 Football Academy. Go in, request what you want, tips, suggestions, recruiting, film, and we will make sure that you get the absolute best from the best. So check out 6-0 on Cameo at 6-0 Academy. Cameo, 6-0 Academy. Cameo, 6-0 Academy.
And we're back. Gonna be a good second half of the show on this fine Monday, Matt. Man, we're headed into the new year. Matt, you got a haircut, I see. You shaved all the hair off.
God.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah, the fucking man bun was pissing me off, and just
Yeah.
like a little fade,
Nice.
Look
Well, I like it. Looks good. Looks good, man. Well, heading into the new year, man. I gotta say this to the chat. This is the show. I know we took a week off, but this is the premier show for Colorado Buffaloes football coverage. Just
I don't even think
forget
it's
that.
close, bro. Like I don't even think it's fucking close.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
on top of everything else we bring to the table, with CU's over, so we're gonna move on to the NFL, but we're gonna talk about this damn near every day because there's tons of shit we have to fucking talk about. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, strap in. This is gonna be a great year heading into the new year, and we appreciate you. We've grown from 4,000 to 15,000, so that wouldn't be possible without you guys, all the supporters, all those who watch and tune in. We appreciate you.
What's
Matt,
going on in the chat? Like, do people think we're attacking this cat?
this is a big thing on Twitter.
I've never even seen his page until yesterday or this morning, so I followed him, but I don't think he said anything like that far out of bounds, did he?
No, I think he just mainly posted something about, Shermer's offense, and Bucky responded, and now it's this huge debate. I'm like, I think he does pretty good content. I don't know too much about him. I'm kind of in your boat with that. But yeah, chat's losing their mind. Chat, fucking relax. I don't know, ain't much else to be said about
It's okay, man. Let him freak out. It's all good.
freak out.
Fucking
Freak out.
This is the only place you can freak out in the world, so fucking lose it, folks. Let's go.
Yeah, we appreciate all the comments and the chats. We appreciate you. Well, Matt, let's get into it. Let's start with this.
Hey, hold on a second. I got to respond to this. It may not be impressive to you, but I know where we were 2 years ago, and I know where we are now. And I would counter that with, I watched LSU last year go 9-3 and lose their bowl game and get bludgeoned twice. And Jaden Daniels still won the Heisman and was still a great player. I think that you're looking at it a little bit like a hater, and that's okay. That's your right to hate. But do I think that they underachieved? No, I don't. I think I picked them to go 8-4 at the beginning of the year. They finished 9-4. Winning a Heisman is incredible. It's incredible. It's harder than people think. It is a one-player, one-team award. It is hard to win a Heisman Trophy, and now they've got two in the program's history. Coach Prime's been here for 2 years, and he's already got a Heisman. So I think that it's looking at it a little bit like, through these glasses of, well, they have these great players. They should have won more. Bro, again, do you remember the 1-11 season and everything that happened? Everything that happened before that? Like, I do. I was there talking to the team. Remember, I was on the sideline having people question, why do you support this? Mm-hmm. Well, so when we win Heismans and are good, people still listen and understand that I actually give a shit. I'm not just here for the fun part of it. Again, like, do you need football or do you like football? I don't just like CU. I need it. It's what it is. So,
right. Yeah.
Again, that's your opinion, and you're more than happy to express it. I think that if you think they underachieved, then your expectations are really high, and I dig that too. I want high expectations, but at the same time, I think that it's I don't know. I'm very impressed by the turnaround of what I saw this year, and I think that the sky is the limit with where they can take the team.
When I read that comment, it just is disappointing that people. I mean, because it's blatantly obvious that it's either.
It's all good, man. People use the platform to bitch or compliment. We have 30 times more compliments in the comments than haters. It's all good, dog. And look, this other cat, whatever.
2 years ago. Like again, we gotta keep saying this.
What's the dude's name that is like him and Bucky are fighting?
T-Cal.
Yeah, and look, he played and he's got an opinion and people follow him, and I don't have a problem with. I don't really know what he said actually, but if it's just going on, that's not Pat's offense. I personally might say good. Yeah. So if the offense looked pretty good until they ran into BYU, I think keeping this in mind too. Keep this in mind. I can almost guarantee you that BYU went to San Antonio and no one partied, no one drank, everyone was encouraged.
Yeah.
Not because the coach wanted them to, because their wives and kids were in the hotel with them because they're all 40. And CU went down there and they were like, ball game, woo! And they just fucking went crazy. Coach Prime's telling everybody if I hear you smoking or smell you smoking, it's the last puff you're ever going to take. Well, he didn't just tell them that because they're not out there fucking smoking dope.
Right.
So,
yeah, exactly.
Let's be real. Like, CU went down there and walled out, and fucking BYU went down there and they were like, oh, well, to 9:30 tonight, we've got prayer group. Everybody show up. And they were like, no problem. And they, afterwards they were like, everyone go soak. And that was their superpower. They went and soaked their ass off all week. Everybody walked.
I was waiting for it. 47 minutes in, Matt.
Great. I've been soaking all week. Let's go. So I'm just saying. Let's be real. When we went to San Antonio to play Wisconsin was 6-6 and not very good. And we were ranked 14th, and we had a chance to win 10 games, and we fucked it up and lost in overtime. And we had guys getting fucking arrested and like guys in drunk tanks and people not showing up to meetings. And it's hard to corral a bunch of wild animals when you go on a bowl game trip. That's all I'm saying. And I don't know if that happened or not, but look at the final score and how they played. And it's just maybe they went to San Antonio and the Riverwalk was really fun. And, it was just an awesome week until they had to play the game. Maybe. I'm just saying. Maybe that happened. Maybe it didn't. I don't fucking know. I'm just speculating. What do I know? But shit, dog. Yeah. So it looked like BYU was fucking soaked up and just like they were like a sponge ready to blow.
We didn't do the watch party. So I was sitting there watching the game and I check on Twitter and I see, what did I see? We're getting soaked or something. It's like, Jesus. And then you said something about 92. He's like, he must be a super soaker. So I was laughing. But no, 92 is a hell of a player. Don't get it twisted.
That dude's a stud, dog. He's a fucking monster of a player.
Unbelievable player.
That's the kind of we need that kind of effort out of the D-line every week. That son of a bitch was playing so hard. Don't tell me that these, like Coach JB this morning, I just disagree with him more and more. I love the guy, but fuck. It's not, these bowl games aren't irrelevant and guys aren't sitting out. And it does mean something. Like people give a shit. These kids are playing hard. Just because one or two superstars decide to sit out, I would think that he would be more appreciative of everything that's happening watching superstars play.
Right. Yeah. And like, from what I've seen, these bowl games have been competitive.
Cam played the first half, right?
Yeah, Cam played the first half. And
he decided to sit the second half.
Yeah, and JB's narrative was that he broke the record and then sat out. I'm like, I don't really agree with that because if he would have done that, he would have sat out after the first quarter because he broke it in the first quarter. So I don't understand why.
I wouldn't like it. As I guess I can sit here and say that I don't want him to quit. But did he quit? Or did he played a half and said, look, on my time in Miami is done. I'm going to give the reins to the other guy and go play.
Well, JB spoke to his parents, as you know, and he said that he was going to sit out the second half no matter what.
Well, then, yeah, they had a plan, and they put their plan in action, and that doesn't make him a bad kid or player. if anything, he stuck by his own plan. So
Right.
I don't fucking know, dog. Like, yeah, I guess if I'm a Miami fan, I'd want him to play, but you're just gonna like shit all over him because look, I even posted this on Twitter at halftime when we were down 20-0. Like, should Shedeur and Travis even play in the second half?
Yeah, I saw that, and I was like,
God, what? I wouldn't be mad at Shedeur and Travis if they came out and were like, we're not going to play the second half.
Right.
I'm glad that they did. It shows me who they really are. Yeah. Like, I know that they really care about football, and like, I get it. I'm glad that they did go play, but it wouldn't change my opinion of them as men or players if they were like, we're going to make a business decision and not play the second half.
Right.
It wouldn't be like, oh, fuck them. I wouldn't. That's not where my head goes, bro. And there's just a difference between in my opinion, there's a huge difference between, the mindset of a guy who knows he's a mercenary and knows his body and his brain and his ability to earn is all wrapped up in availability.
Right.
And you can't play for the hurt. And then the mindset of people that just look at it like, well, if I was in that position, I would play. Well, until you're in that position, it's really, really hard for me to take you seriously talking about a hypothetical with so much money on the table. Like the fact that Shedeur and Travis went out and played the way they did and played every snap and played hard, even though it wasn't good, but played hard, knowing all that fucking bread's on the table and only an $18 million fucking policy.
Yeah, I was thinking, I was like,
$18 million to everybody in the chat's a lot of money, but it's nothing compared to what they're going to make.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was pretty cool, and I don't have a problem with either side doing what they did. I think that it's just the business of football, bro.
I agree. It's the business we're in. This is where we're at in college football. There's a lot of outcry from it on Twitter. JB's like, he shouldn't have played at all. I'm like, well, how are you going to call Cam Ward and not? Do you is he he ain't the first one that's done this, has he? Like, I don't understand the big fuss and the big.
If anything, like this year was a little bit of an enigma where guys decided to play and it wasn't important.
Yeah, exactly.
So in past years, Jaden Daniels didn't play in the bowl game last year, did he? No.
I believe so, no.
So like in past years, everybody would just be out and you'd be watching backups.
The last 10 years, yeah.
I know that it was a shitty outcome, but I'm not mad at anybody for playing or not playing. It just is what it is.
I agree, absolutely. And before we move on, shout
something to be pissed off about, dog. I swear to God.
Yeah, thanks. Shout out to Robert Mitchell for the $99, the $100. He says, please do a collab with Buffton Prime. Well, stay tuned to this channel. You never know. But we appreciate the $100 donation. We really appreciate that. But yeah, Matt, let's move forward here.
Go Buffs.
Yeah, go Buffs. Let's talk about this. So the Giants and the Raiders lost yesterday. And now this changes up a lot in terms of the NFL draft order. This puts New England at 1 and Tennessee at 2. Now, for my guess, I don't think New England is going to draft a quarterback based on them drafting Drake May last year. But I think someone that would really fit into what they need, Travis Hunter. Colorado's Travis Hunter playing wide receiver and DB headed to New England. I think that would be a great fit. And at number 2, Tennessee. And as Matt, you've mentioned earlier in the show, their head coach is Brian Callahan, and offensive line coach is his father, Bill Callahan. And I think they really got a developing offensive line down there. They have drafted the kid Latham last year at left tackle. He's a hell of a player. And now they're lined up at number 2, slated to, I would guess, draft Shedeur Sanders. Matt, what are your thoughts on this?
Look, being on a team in the NFL that went 4-12 and won on New Year's Day, and because we won, we picked DeBerkshire Ferguson over Reggie Bush. Mm-hmm. That worked out because DeBerkshire is a Ring of Famer with the Jets and a great player. Mm-hmm. We also picked Nick Mangold in that draft in the same first round, so that was 2 great players. Reggie was an okay pro. Let's be real. He was not a great pro like he was a college player.
True.
You can't really sit here and go coulda, woulda, shoulda. But if I'm the Giants or the Raiders, like, holy shit, bro, I don't know who you're going to draft and who's going to play quarterback for you, but I guess Cam Ward and the other guys. So I know that there's a lot of bullshit being spewed out there that they won't play for certain teams. Travis Hunter already said that he'd love to play for New England. And if I'm New England and I'm not picking him, then you're fucking stupid. Like, you're just dumb as a box of fucking rocks, and you don't deserve to have a player like that. So please don't pick him so he can go somewhere else. And Tennessee, again, I'm going to reiterate this like I did at the beginning of the show. Tennessee is a great fit for Shedeur. It's a terrible fucking division. Terrible. They're looking for a superstar to build around down there. So remember how popular Steve McNair was with the Tennessee Titans. I know it didn't end well, obviously, but he was beloved.
Right.
And, it's a proud fan base. Nashville is exploding, and they're getting a new stadium.
Oh, yeah.
Big stadium.
And I think that they will be a little bit more – if they do draft Shedeur, it allows Callahan another year or two to really build.
Oh, yeah.
I know that Coach Callahan's mindset is very much like his father's, where we're going to run the fuck out of the ball. They picked that Latham kid from Alabama last year. He was awesome as a rookie all year. He's a monster. So I think that they're going to build from the inside out, and adding a quarterback of Shedeur's stature and let him sit behind Will Levis for a little bit and learn, promote competition, see how all that goes. I think Tennessee's a great fit, dog. I think it could be awesome. And I just Coach Prime will not allow his kid to play in Tennessee or Cleveland. Now, Cleveland, I understand. but no, I don't think it's real. I think Coach Prime already slapped back at this dude and fucking called him an idiot. Look, you have Coach Prime almost cursing on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like, idiot is an insult. It's almost a curse word. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's almost cursing on Twitter. He's pissed about this because it's not true. It's just some fucking guy trying to get clicks, dog.
Yeah.
100% Shedeur Sanders going to Tennessee is a great fit. Great fit.
No, I 100% agree.
Great fucking fit, dog. Like, please go learn under Callahan and Bill Callahan and that group. Like, they've got young talent. I know they're not good. That's why they're picking at the top of the draft, folks.
Yeah,
like, this
absolutely.
is not a fucking brain buster. Okay.
And let me say this about Nashville. To those who think Nashville, Tennessee is not a big market, do you understand how many people are moving out here? Do you understand how fast that fucking city's growing on top of how big it already fucking is?
It's a huge market. I guarantee you they get a Super Bowl too when they build a dome stadium.
Yeah, they're building a giant state over there.
It's building a giant dome stadium, bro. Go there, turn it around, run the AFC South for the next 15 years. That division is poo-poo. Mm-hmm. Jacksonville and Trevor, I don't know how about soft brain Trevor Lawrence, but they couldn't win with him. And they stacked the deck, and they still couldn't fucking win. They're going to get a new head coach. Who knows what's going to happen in Jacksonville? The Colts are a fucking disaster. They're a disaster. They have some talent, but they're a fucking disaster. Their quarterback can't play. Their coach can't manage a game to save his fucking life. Jonathan Taylor's dropping the ball and shit. Great player, but again, they win that game against Denver. They're probably in the playoffs, so there's a mental break.
Yeah.
And like the Texans are an okay team. They're hurt. They're always hurt. CJ Stroud went from rookie of the year to not even a Pro Bowler this year. He fucking declined terribly.
Yeah.
So I just think it's a division you can go in and really compete. I was hoping that he would go to the Raiders just selfishly to see him in the AFC West with all those quarterbacks and, see him every year in Denver and he could come home. But again, that was just a selfish want. The Giants at 3, I wouldn't put them above them to trade up either.
Yeah.
If the Giants really love Shedeur, they're still at 3. They can fucking trade up with Tennessee if Tennessee wants to give up that pick, and Tennessee can drop back one slot and get a bunch of equity and pick Cam Ward. Or if they even want a quarterback, maybe they like Will Levis. But I watched Will Levis play, and Will Levis is not the guy.
I don't think Brian Callahan's a big fan of Will Levis anymore.
I've watched at least 10 times this year say, what the fuck are you doing? To blatantly on
every Titans game this year.
Yeah. So I think that the opportunity there is huge for those 3 teams. I don't want either of these guys going to Cleveland. I think Travis would be awesome in Jacksonville. Please, God, don't go to the Jets. They will fuck it up. I don't want them going to Carolina. I would like Shador to go to the Raiders, but not
Vegas
Travis.
jumps to
Chicago's a dumpster fire. New Orleans is a dumpster fire. So, look, the top two picks in the draft are going to be Travis Hunter, number 1 in New England, and Shador Sanders, number 2 to either the Titans or the Giants, depending on how that shakes out. But New England plays Buffalo this weekend, right?
I believe so. Let me check.
I think they played Buffalo, and that's a loss. So,
yeah. What I mean, you mentioned trade scenarios. I could see the Giants trading the 1 to get Shador. I could see that
too. And then but then New England isn't going to get Travis or Hunter at 3 though. That's the thing.
If Tennessee takes Cam Ward, could you see that?
So you're thinking Shador and Cam Ward go 1-2, and then Travis goes 3.
I think unless New England stays at 1, that Cam Ward and Shador are locked at 1 and 2.
I wouldn't draft Drake May and then have the opportunity to get generational talent like Travis Hunter and trade it.
Yeah, that is
I
true.
wouldn't be doing that, bro. Especially with the Patriots. So you ask any Patriot fan, even with the exception of Tom Brady and Wes Welker and Randy Moss and like that fucking freakish just group of players, which consequently never won a Super Bowl. Remember this. That group never won a Super Bowl together, but Tom Brady with fucking a bunch of just David Patton and people like that. And then, old fucking murder dough, Aaron Hernandez and fucking Gronkowski, they won Super Bowls. So did Hernandez ever win one? I don't think he did either.
I thought didn't he play in one? I thought he played in one. Didn't he lose to the Giants?
They lost both of them.
Yeah.
But Gronk was Brady's best friend. You know what I'm saying? Like New England hasn't had like a huge big time receiver since fucking Randy Moss and Wes Welker, bro. So this gives them that's their MO constantly. Cam Newton didn't have receivers, and Mac Jones didn't have receivers, and they don't have receivers now. And Belichick would try and draft guys from he drafted the Arizona State kid back in the day in the first round. He was there for like 6 weeks. Like,
right, yeah.
This is an opportunity to get a really generational type player in Travis Hunter. You can't pass that up if you're the Patriots.
Yeah, and speaking of Week 18, the Patriots play Buffalo at home in Foxborough. Let's look. Tennessee. Who does Tennessee take on? They take on Houston.
Deion Branch was a Super Bowl MVP. Great player, but not Travis Hunter. Like, just Deion Branch after he left the Patriots. Exactly.
Yeah. Good
That's all
point.
you need to know.
The Titans take on the Texans, which, I mean, the Titans did beat the Texans once already this year. We got to remember that. But, I mean,
the Titans are not going to win another game, bro.
Yeah. And then the Giants, who the Giants got? They got the Eagles in Philly. So that'll be interesting. All dependent on whether Philly plays their starters or not and whatever.
How about fucking Saquon, dog? That's pretty cool.
He is a hell of a. Do you play him? Does he play next week? Do you play him
to get the rushing record? Fuck
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so goddamn lootly. Now, if I'm Eric Dickerson, am I pissed off that they get an extra game? Fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah, I'm fucking pissed. But then again, Eric Dickerson didn't do the rushing record in 14. He did it in 16.
Yeah.
So can he bitch? No, because I'm pretty sure OJ had the record before, right?
I believe so, yeah.
And he did it in 14 games. So, yeah, there's an extra game, and Saquon's probably going to break the rushing record, especially against the Giants, who are dog shit, like, against the run. Jonathan Taylor chewed them up last week. Yeah, I think he'll get it. I think he'll break it, and good for him, bro. Like,
good for him.
I love what's happening against the Giants, too. Like, you should probably re-sign Danny Dimes, not Saquon. You dumb fucks. God damn, dude. Everyone's fired. You're all fucking fired.
Oh, man, that's interesting. The New York organizations, the Giants and the Jets, are just
absolute. I don't think you could combine the teams and win 5 games. I think you could take all the Jet players and all the Giant players and make a 53-man roster and still go 4-13.
Jeez.
That's how shitty they both are. Yeah.
I gotta ask you about the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. What do you think about him pulling himself out and telling Tyrod Taylor to go play? He said he was down. I mean, They're down 33-0. We're sitting there. I said at some point probably go to Tyrod. I'm paraphrasing, but what are your thoughts on that?
You know, I was so goddamn excited when I thought the Broncos were going to trade for Aaron Rodgers, and then I was with the Jets when they traded for Brett Favre, and it was incredible until it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
When Aaron Rodgers went to the Jets, I really thought, like a fucking idiot, of course, an alum and a fan, that they would be incredible. The Jets are going to make the Super Bowl. Yeah, right. I don't want him to play the last game. I don't want him to be back in New York. And my opinion of him has changed significantly. I know he's a smart guy, and I understand that he's an enigma, like his fucking documentary. And I get that he's like a little bit out there and shit. But I think he's just a narcissistic fucking jerk. Like, I think he thinks that the only fucking guy in the room is him, and everybody needs to do whatever he wants. And because he read a couple fucking philosophy books and takes ayahuasca, that he's like smarter than everybody else. But I think he's the kind of guy, he's like LeBron James. You know, like LeBron will always be seen with a book, but it's like on page 4.
Never read
like,
it. Yeah.
Mark's on page 5, and he's like, yeah, I'm reading this book. And it's like always on page 5 because he's not really reading the book. He just bought the book so he can carry it around and show people he's an intellectual.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that he's that kind of narcissist, bro. So personally, I think Aaron Rodgers needs to kick fucking rocks and retire and get the fuck out. If he's the Jets quarterback next year, I'm out. I ain't watching a fucking game. I don't want to be involved with this shit anymore. So yeah, I'm over
you
it.
think he's gone? You think he's done? You think he's gone out of New York? There's no way he stays with the Jets.
No way, dude. No fucking way. How can you bring him back?
I agree. I mean, I tend to agree. I'd be shocked if he was still.
But I would, if I'm Coach JB, I'm more angry at fucking Aaron Rodgers pulling that shit after he was one of the reasons we're down 40-0 than Cam Ward wanting to fucking protect himself and go into the NFL. I mean, get the fuck out of here. Aaron Rodgers should be taking way more fucking heat than Cam Ward.
Well, JB will talk about that tomorrow. He was ranting about Cam Ward a lot today.
And look, the Jets may not be able to find anybody better, but that they need to just tank and win one game and draft a quarterback again and try again. Like, that is the beauty of the rookie wage scale. For as shitty as it is, okay, for the players, it's still the beauty of it for the teams. If you hit on one of these young guys, I mean, shit, if the Vikings aren't going to go re-sign Sam Darnold, go back and swing at Sam again.
Yeah.
But he would. If I was Sam Darnold, I would laugh in their fucking face.
I don't think Sam Darnold should.
I'd be like, yeah, right. I can play with you. I'd rather go to Canada than play for the fucking Jets. No. And if the Vikings don't re-sign that kid, they're fucking dumb too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you. Because Sam.
Hey, so what about this scenario? What would you like? JJ McCarthy's got to still be worth the first round pick, right? He's got to be. I mean, he hasn't played yet.
He should be. He should be. Let's say he should be.
Well, let's say if you're the Vikings and you really want to get fucking tricky, like, who's to say they don't trade up in the top 5 and trade McCarthy and this year's first rounder and try and fucking get Travis Hunter? And then you got Addison. That's the way I would be thinking in Minnesota right now. We thought that we hit the skids losing McCarthy, and in actuality, we got better. And now we don't need this kid, and we have fucking a ton of equity to throw behind him. Hey, Tennessee, that doesn't have a quarterback. You want JJ McCarthy? And in the first rounder, we're going to move to 2 and take Travis Hunter.
I mean, Travis Hunter, the Vikings would probably work out pretty damn good. They got 2 solid receivers.
Addison and Jefferson.
Yeah.
And then maybe he wouldn't need to play as much receiver.
That's what I'm saying. He could easily go in and be a 3 at receiver and then still go play.
Or you pick Shador and put him behind. Yeah, or you pick Shador and put him behind Dalton or fucking Sam Darnold for a year or 2 and just develop him.
Yeah. Man, now you're raising some interesting questions here. Personally, I think the Vikings should sign Sam Darnold. I mean,
yeah, if you don't sign him, you deserve every fucking thing that's going to happen to you if you don't sign him.
Yeah.
Now, I've heard a lot of people like, well, Case Keenum went in there and had a great year. And I'm like, yeah, but Case Kisholm and Sam Darnold are not the same guy.
I don't know if he had this good of a year. I'm going to be honest. Like, yeah, he had the –
I guess the title game, bro.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, That's a tough debate, man. I didn't even think about that. Case Keenum versus Sam Darnold. Whew, they did let him go. That is a good point. Interesting. Well, let's move forward, Matt. Let's get our picks for tonight. Monday Night Football, Lions at 49ers. Lions are 3.5-point favorites headed to San Fran. The over-under is at 50.5.
Hey, you want to see how well people are listening? Yeah, we know they have the quarterback for this talk. We were just talking about if they were to bag it.
Comment before you listen.
No, this was the whole point of the conversation that we're having. And we love you. Thank you for listening and thank you for watching and all that shit. But fuck me, bro. Pay attention.
Chat, we appreciate you. Let's go back to our picks for tonight. Lions at 49ers. Lions are 3.5-point favorites. The over-under is at 50.5. Matt, who you got tonight?
The Lions by 100. Look, they're at the Niners too, so they're going back to the scene of the crime. And I think they know, Campbell's knows that the next week is really the game. That's the last game of the year. Sunday Night Football, Detroit at Minnesota.
That's going to be so
Or
exciting.
is it Minnesota at Detroit or Detroit at Minnesota?
Let me look. Because I believe they flexed it. They flexed it to be the last game, right?
Yeah, dude. That's a fucking great game. That is awesome.
In Detroit at Ford.
Okay. So the only way for that game to mean dick is for them to take care of tonight. So take care tonight and go put it on San Francisco and make them feel all the discontent from last year when Dan Campbell blew that game. And go beat the shit out of San Francisco and go home and get ready for the game of the year, bro. Next fucking Sunday night is going to be a goddamn war. I can't wait for that game. So,
that's a hell of a game.
Yeah, I think that Detroit rolls San Francisco tonight.
I think Detroit wins but doesn't cover. I mean, unless San Fran just comes out and absolutely lays an egg here, they've always been Detroit's Achilles heel, so to speak.
Yeah, but their team is depleted, though. They don't have it.
Depleted. They're depleted.
They don't have any. It's not the same team that beat Detroit last year. And remember, Detroit fucked that game up. It's not like San Francisco won it.
I mean, if I'm betting it, I would be very, very hesitant just to blindly take Detroit 3.5. It seems like bait. If I'm looking at where the money's at, there's a lot of money on Detroit 3.5. And there's a lot of money on Detroit in general. So,
and I agree. Simply Jen's catching Brock Purdy was a disappointment this year. You're fucking right, he was. I'll tell you, Aaron Rodgers busted ass needs to go to the Niners, and they just need to put everything into one season and see if he can be the one that takes them to the mountaintop. But I think that Aaron Rodgers is one of the most. He had so many opportunities to go to the Super Bowl and win one, and he only got one. Brett Favre was very similar to this, where he's always in the NFC title game, but he only went to 2 Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. There's just, I don't know. They're great. They're unbelievable Hall of Fame players, but I don't know how you can put Aaron Rodgers or Favre in the top 10 quarterbacks of all time. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
And I used to think Aaron Rodgers was a top 5 guy of all time. He was incredible. And then for some, he's just, his fall off on top of his attitude and just it's a bad mix, bro. I'd rather have a dumb fucking redneck that's defrauding the fucking Mississippi, government and fucking Brett Favre than this narcissistic, egotistical dick face who just doesn't get it and has no people skills. I'd rather hang out with Brett Favre than fucking Aaron Rodgers, bro. What am I going to do with Aaron? Get high and hug? At least with Brett Favre, you're going to go have some fun.
Right. Yeah, that's hilarious. Matt, you crack me up, man. Yeah, I saw
that's my top 10 quarterbacks of all time.
You and JB had a debate about this that I know we run as a commercial, and it's pretty
top
funny.
10
years ago. I don't know if you remember, but go ahead.
I remember, but I don't remember my list right now off the top of my head. Just top 5 would be Brady, Elway, Manning, Montana, Mahomes would probably be my top 5. And then after that, I'd have to really think about it because Dan Marino's definitely in there. I don't know where.
So Mahomes has cracked your top 5.
Oh, yeah. Jim Kelly's in there. I just don't know where.
Mm-hmm.
fuck, man. I don't know after that. I have to really think about it.
Well, Matt, back to our picks. Matt's rolling with the Lions. I would take the 49ers, anything above 3. I mean, they're at 3.5 right now, so I'd take that. But I still think Detroit wins, and we're going to discuss the super show.
Can you imagine if he really
like
was?
Picture.
Can you imagine if he was and he's just sitting in the corner watching and you're like, fuck, man, Elway's watching me. I got to really pick this up.
Yeah, it's John Elway.
I got to really fucking get in there. Fucking, I can't let John Elway down. That motherfucker finishes everything. If he's looking for some tips, I got to fucking do my job.
Yeah. Yeah, Reed, shout out to you. I like your profile picture, you and Matt.
Kelly's no higher than 9, maybe not, but that's still in the top 10.
True. Matt, before we get out of here, I gotta read this to you. I don't know if you know.
Yeah,
Fox
Kelly is
Sports
similar to Rodgers and Favre. He did lose 4 Super Bowls, but he's also a fucking badass. All right, Jim Kelly's just tough as nails and a real fucking competitor. And I love Favre, but I don't know, man. I think I might put Favre in the top 10, but not Aaron.
I think it's very fair, Matt. Especially as we've watched Aaron these last 2 seasons, unfortunately, or 2 or 3.
I'll tell you who's really fucking, if he can win a Super Bowl or 2, is Josh Allen. I love the way Josh Allen plays, bro.
He's a baller, man.
And Lamar's incredible. I was a huge Randall Cunningham fan when I was growing up, but he just never won anything. So I don't know if I can validate the pick, but I loved Cunningham. I don't know. That's a really hard question.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt, before we get out of here, I got to read this to you. I don't know if you know Fox Sports is Nick Wright, but he says, I'm going to read this to you. Fox's Nick Wright thinks there's a world where the Patriots draft Shedeur Sanders with the first pick, trade Drake May for a top 5 pick, and draft Travis Hunter. They would also fire head coach Gerard Mayo and hire Deion Sanders. He says, a not totally insane scenario, the Patriots fall in love with Shedeur, and instead of trading the number 1 pick, they trade Drake for a top 5 pick. They could then potentially draft Shedeur and Travis, and then for the hell of it, fire Mayo and hire Deion. Now, I'll preface this before you even answer. I don't think Deion's leaving, but the other part of that scenario where the Patriots fall in love with Shedeur, I don't know. But Matt, go ahead. Oh, no. Matt, go ahead. What do you got?
Okay, if they pick Shedeur and Travis, what are you going to fire Mayo after it happens just to hire Prime after the draft? Because it would need to happen the way he wants it to in order to entice Prime to go.
Man,
that's not the hiring coach window. Like, you want everybody in place before you draft. So I don't think from a logistical standpoint, I don't think it's possible. But like on Madden, I think it'd be cool. But in fucking reality land, I don't think it's possible at all. Not saying you can't get Shedeur and Travis. If they drafted Shedeur number 1 and then traded Drake May to the Titans for the second pick and then drafted Hunter, that would be fucking dope. That would be awesome. But then you can't just go fire everyone and fire all the coach, because Coach Prime's going to bring in all of his own staff, his own people, his own front office. Like, it'll just be a total turnover. Do they want to draft everyone and then fire everyone just to bring in Coach Prime and restart everything just for 2 guys on the roster? I don't see that happening, but I could see them picking Shedeur and Travis together. I never really thought about that. That's a great fucking idea.
That would be sweet. I don't know. I don't see Prime going to New England. I think Vrabel is probably going to New England if I had to guess. Or I don't know. This is gonna be interesting. I think Vrabel goes to New England though. But I mean, Shedeur and Travis.
If I was New England, I would be firing Gerard Mayo right fucking now and hiring Mike Vrabel immediately.
And
I don't know why.
I
don't know why.
Vrabel's contract, is consulting contract with the Cleveland Browns, expired today. Just a note I might add. Something to think about. But nonetheless, Matt, great show on this fine Monday. Before we get out of here, just your reaction from the NFL over Christmas break and the weekend. And, man, how are we feeling headed into the last week of the season before playoffs?
I'm excited for the playoffs to start. I'm tired of watching. There's a lot of really bad teams. Like the top 10, everybody's like fucking 12, 13 losses. Like the bottom of the NFL is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible. The top of the NFL is pretty good sometimes, but the bottom of the NFL is just dog shit. So I'm excited to see quality teams play each other. I think the NFC playoffs are going to be fucking crazy, where you got like a 12-win team as the 6th seed, I think. Yeah, that's the way it's going to be. Green Bay will win 12 games and be the 6th seed. That's nuts. I think the NFC playoffs are going to be great. I think the AFC playoffs has the potential to be great if, and I know Bronco fans are going to get real mad at me when I say this, and we'll talk about it more as the week goes on. We will not have a show on Wednesday. Okay, we'll just let the games play out. We'll do tomorrow, no Wednesday, definitely Thursday and Friday. I want Cincinnati in the playoffs bad. And I know Denver's probably going to get there because Kansas City's sitting all their players.
Right.
But I think Joe Burrow's the best player in the league, and I think if they had 2 more wins, he would be the MVP front runner. And I think everybody in Buffalo is praying to the fucking god of football not to fucking let Cincinnati make the playoffs. And this is the thing. They would go to Buffalo and beat Buffalo, and then they would have to go to Kansas City and play Kansas City, and they've beaten them there.
Joe Burrow owns Arrowhead.
Yeah. And then you got whoever wins out of the other 3, which would be Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Houston. So I would have to think that Baltimore will win out of those 3. Then you got Baltimore, Cincinnati in the AFC title game. And I'm not saying that I know Burrow and the Bengals struggle with the Ravens, but they struggle with them until the last play of the fucking game, and they can't get over the hump. And getting over the hump in the playoffs is what Joe Burrow does.
Yeah. I'll tell you right now, yeah.
You do not want Cincinnati in the playoffs if you're on the AFC side. And I want him in because I want fucking chaos. I want him to go in there and just be like, fuck you, and just start carving people up. So, I think Denver's going to be the 7th seed, and they will go to Buffalo and get fucking murdered. But if Cincinnati finds a way to sneak in, dog, they're going to be a fucking hard out. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, they're going to go. I mean, if they get in there, play Buffalo, I mean, that's going to be a tough game for Buffalo. I mean, Joe Burrow's playing.
I just don't think Denver-Buffalo will be very hard. I think Denver will be so happy about just getting there. They'll play tough, and Sean Payton will have a good game plan, maybe. Why didn't you go for 2, by the way? What the fuck?
We got so much to discuss.
What the fuck, man? Why? Why? What are you doing?
I don't understand.
You just scored. The fucking game is over. They're standing there. They got the worst defense in the fucking world. You can't scheme up a Jaden Daniels zone read, fucking RPO throw like the Commanders did on the goal line and do consistently with Vanilla Vic. We can't fucking make that happen. Like, I'd rather lose that way than lose in overtime the way they did.
Well, that was a whole interesting situation.
Fucking too. What are we doing?
Like, what the fuck were they doing with the clock management too?
Hey, well, this is my thing. Is I think Sean Payton's a definite upgrade from the coaches they've had, other than Kubiak, obviously, who won a Super Bowl. But I just think that Sean's such a prick. No one can say anything to him, and he just makes decisions, and everyone's just like, "Yes, sir, okay, Sean," because they all want the fucking job because he's surrounded himself with yes men. And that's not conducive. Like, bro, somebody's on the sideline. Like, that's where the quarterback that's not a rookie, and I would hope Bo would do this, but he didn't, needs to go, no, we're fucking going for 2. That's like
we've seen Bo and Sean.
Yeah, man. It goes full circle back to what we were talking about with this cat that was talking about Shermer's offense, right? I wouldn't expect it to be Pat's offense from the NFL. It's college scheme, number one, and you've got such an elite player with Shedeur Sanders. I want his opinion. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, I want his opinion on what we're doing. I need to make sure my quarterback, who's an elite talent, is good with what we're doing. I'm not trying to force a fucking a square peg into a round hole, dog. This ain't a porno.
Yeah.
This is the NFL. I know there's some fucking fuckery going on Sundays, but ain't nobody fucking. You're not losing money on Pornhub. You're losing money on the NFL. So, can you imagine if you could bet on Pornhub? By the way,
God,
you have to have live streams and shit. It's getting fucking weird. All I'm saying is, like, you have to acclimate for the greatness, and if you don't, it'd be like when the Broncos had Tim Tebow. And Mike McCoy was the offensive coordinator, who was a head coach and a good OC. Yeah. But he was the OC with like Peyton Manning and shit, and like could do anything he fucking wanted. And then he got Tim Tebow, and did they try and force Tim into Peyton's box? No. They fucking ran the ball down people's throats every single play and made the playoffs and won a fucking game.
Yeah,
it's one of the best goddamn coaching jobs ever in the history of fucking pro football, in my opinion. Tim Tebow couldn't shot put the ball 15 feet, but he could fucking go score. He could go run the ball enough to fucking win. I remember they won at Kansas City that year. And it was the first year after I retired, and I was all laid up just watching all the games with a broken leg. And they won at Kansas City. I think they threw the ball like 5 times. And one of them was like a 70-yard touchdown to Decker because they were playing play action. So you've got to fucking build around what you have, man. You can't just consistently just say this is the only way to do things. That's not coaching. That's not what coaching is. Coaching is about the ability to, the little book of coaching. Oh, look, it's right here again. The Don Shula little book of coaching. Okay, my dad got this for me fucking, 30 years ago. Long fucking time. Don Shula signed it right there. It's pretty cool. Awesome. But like, you have to be fucking aware of the situation. And it says, there's a great quote in this book. You can have all the plans you want, but if you can't change your plan sucks. Your plan's washed. So we can plan all we want, but we have to have the ability to change. And that's all I would say to the dude doing the videos. When I do videos and shit, it's about the past, not what necessarily could happen in the future. And at the same time, you've got to understand that if you're not changing every week and putting in new stuff and trying to really expand what you can do with great talent, you're relying on the talent rather than scheme. And I will say that they definitely relied on the talent this year in Boulder more than scheme. So I would hope that there's more scheme to appreciate the talent in Boulder moving forward. So we'll see.
Absolutely. And well said, Matt. I totally agree with you. You made great points there.
Keep in mind, Mike, that they only got one offensive lineman in, but they are returning everyone. Everybody on that line is coming back. So again, now it's about, in the world where there's no development, now it's about developing your talent this offseason, teaching them how to think like a fucking unit instead of an individual, and bringing in guys around them that can help facilitate competition and push everybody over the fucking finish line and go run the ball down people's throats. That's my opinion, and we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. And they really only have one lineman. I thought they had a couple, like 2 or 3 at least. But man, I can't wait to discuss.
They got the big center in the portal too, so that's not even a true. That's not even a true.
Like they've gotten a couple, like the Ullman Road.
I remember.
Yeah. Well, Matt, great show on this fine Monday. To all those tuned in, 1,600 people, we appreciate you. We're back here headed into the new year, and I can't wait. This is gonna be a great week of football. Matt, any closing thoughts?
I can't fucking wait for the playoff games. I can't wait. And then I know the first round sucked, but it was still college football playoffs, so I'm cool with it.
Yeah, What's your take on the first round?
It was anticlimactic, but I thought the teams that would win did. I picked SMU. That was stupid. But you picked Clemson, which is also stupid. So
that was a good game, except
the Clemson game was the best game of the bunch. No, I think that. Look, everybody's like, "Well, there was blowouts, bro." Go look, pull up the scores from last year's playoff games from the NFL, real quick, because everybody wants to talk to me about blowups and bad football. Blowouts and bad football. Shut the fuck up. Last year's playoff scores, just run them by me real quick with the 3 AFC games and the 3 NFC games when you can get them.
All right,
Sorry.
give me 1 sec. No, it's all good. Postseason here. Well, it's 2022. Seahawks. This is the season before last. I just pulled it up real quick, but
Whatever.
Fits your point. 49ers 41, Seahawks 23, Chargers 30, Jags 31.
That actually was an unbelievable game. That was a great comeback.
Dolphins 31, Bills 34. I think that was the Skylar Thompson game. I want to say this is when Daniel Jones led the Giants to their playoff victory. Giants 31, Vikings 24, Bengals 24.
So maybe that's a bad example from 2 years ago. But I will say that there are blowouts in playoff games, guys. It's not the first time we've seen it. And I don't want to change the system to go backwards. If anything, I want to add more teams and have more playoff games. Because you know what? A 16 had never beaten a 1 until a 16 beat a 1 and Virginia lost in the NCAAs. So you've got to play the game regardless of how many times somebody gets smashed. You have to play. You have to earn it. And that's why I like the playoff system better.
Well, yeah. Last year in the wild card, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Texans blow out the Browns 45-14. Chiefs dominate Dolphins 26-7. Packers take out Cowboys 48-32. But if you watch that game, Packers were destroying the Cowboys. And then the one close one, you got, really, these are all blowouts. You got Eagles, the Bucks blowing out the Eagles, Bills blowing out the Steelers. Matt's to your point.
That's what I'm saying. It happens. So, look, enjoy it for what it is. It's the first time we see a playoff. The games are awesome. Boise, Penn State, we'll make our picks tomorrow, obviously. Notre Dame, Georgia is going to be a great game.
We're going
to get back to Georgia. We'll see how good their defense plays like that. Everybody's got to rally around that Stockton kid who I thought died in the SEC title game.
Apparently, he's a hell of a player. Saving recruiting.
Arizona State is going to be a great game. If anybody thinks Arizona State and Kenny Dillingham and Scadaboo are going to fucking lay down, you're crazy. And I'm telling you, we're going to see if Texas can really stop the run because Arizona State's going to line up and try and just beat the shit out of them. And then on top, and then you got the fucking game of the year again in Oregon and Ohio State. That is a fucking great game in the Rose Bowl. So we'll see what happens, man. I'm really excited to watch the games. I don't know how much I'm going to bet on them this week because it's just college football is pretty hard to handicap, in my opinion.
True.
But I am excited about watching the games. It's awesome. Just an unbelievably great week of football. There's more bowl games on today. Who's the game tomorrow night? Who's the New Year's Eve game?
College, let's see. Well, tonight you got Iowa and Missouri. Oh, they're actually playing right now. I didn't even realize that. Iowa's up 7 on Missouri right now. Interesting. In the Trans Perfect Music City Bowl. Tomorrow you got what they call the opt-out bowl. It's the ReliaQuest Bowl between Alabama and Michigan. Some on Twitter are calling it the opt-out bowl. You also got Louisville, Washington, South Carolina, Illinois, Baylor, LSU, Penn State, and Boise.
Ooh. You know what? I don't know if you downloaded this. Did you get this clip?
Oh yeah. So let's talk about that.
Well, you brought this up.
55 Arkansas offensive lineman steps. I don't even know.
No, he stepped on him. He stepped on him real hard. Play it. That's fucked up, too. That is.
Fuck is this? Matt, 55 on Arkansas. I'll get his name in a second, but he steps on I just can't believe it. Steps on a Texas Tech player in a bowl game. Matt, what are your thoughts? Let's go ahead.
What a bitch.
Facts.
What a fucking punk. And that, people watch him do it. And the guy on the ground let it happen to him and just looked at him and said, ow, my ankle. Fucking reach up there and punch him in his dick right now. You're at perfect level. Reach up there, grab his balls,
fucking face.
Rip his goddamn nuts off, stick him down his fucking throat. This kind of dirty shit right here, this has no place in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, 55 needs to be dealt with, dog. You're a fucking punk motherfucker. I don't know who you are, but there's nothing tough about you.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
Fernando Carmona.
You should, number one, you should be apologizing on social media to this kid to fucking try and clear your own name. But I wouldn't want that. I don't care how good you are. I don't want this guy on my team. I want you. Look, I have no problem with being a prick. I have no problem with being dirty between the whistles. I have a real problem with you stepping on somebody like this. You might as well be Albert Hainsworth, dog. He stepped on my boy Andre Giroud's head in a game. Like, this is fucked up. Like, I consider myself a pretty nasty player, but I'm doing it between the whistles. I'm not trying to fuck you up after the whistle.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man.
I played against multiple times. He was trying to fuck you up between the whistles real bad, but he wasn't trying to fucking get in there and grab your balls after the play and step on you and shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking low right there, dog. That is fucking low.
I agree with this, and you sent this to me. I was like, holy shit! I watched that game. I didn't even see that happen, but after the game, I was like, what the fuck? Unbelievable.
Well,
yeah, what a piece of shit.
He's getting fucking slaughtered for it too. People are going off on his ass.
Yeah, Twitter are gonna get him. I mean, is what it is. I believe he used to play at SDSU, San Jose State, I believe. Either way, I mean, Twitter gonna get him.
Damn. Damn.
Chat. Really? My God, unbelievable, man. God damn.
God damn.
Let's get out of here, man. Great show on this fine Monday.
We don't need to talk about that anymore, homie. That whole situation has fallen off the fucking rails.
Yeah, it's gone.
Like, it's taking turns where I was like, what the fuck is happening right now? I have no idea what's happening there, but I'm glad I'm not involved, to tell you that.
Me too.
Oh,
Travis Hunter, we love you. You're going to be the number one pick, man. But oh boy. Yeah, Matt.
Please,
but hey,
bro.
Yeah, no, needed. Needed. But hey,
everybody in the chat, I appreciate you, and I love the fact that you would see me worthy for the opportunity. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not really going to comment on a bunch personally. If you guys want to get on social media and keep fucking supporting, I'm not going to tell you no. So just take that for what you will. Trust me, everybody will fucking know if something happens. So we'll see.
Absolutely. Stay tuned. But hey, great show on this fine Monday. We're going to be back here tomorrow. We got a lot of football to talk about in this fine week of football headed into the new year. But hey, we appreciate you. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and become a member of the Dungeon family here at 0 to 60. And not much else to be said. Matt, any closing thoughts before we get out of here?
No, man. Enjoy your evening. We'll be back tomorrow at 1, and then we'll be off Wednesday. And I got to fucking go because I'm already late. So, peace.
All right. Well, we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.